I think it's just a really bad joke. Well, not even a really bad joke, a joke that comes off the wrong way. And you can just see, even with the way Sabrina Eske's reacting, she's like, what did you just say?
From the very moment those "Pay Us What You Owe Us" t-shirts made their way onto the court, it was obvious things were about to get heated. Instead of sparking the serious conversation about pay that some players wanted, the shirts turned into a lightning rod for criticism. Social media exploded with people. Regular fans, sports writers, and even casual viewers posting reactions, memes, and heated arguments. But here's what really stood out. Most of the backlash wasn't against the idea of higher salaries. It was against the way the protest felt. To many, it seemed less about the league and more about targeting Caitlin Clark. Fans everywhere felt like the shirts were just a public display of jealousy aimed at the league's biggest new star. Comments calling out the haters and saying the protest was just another way to single her out. What should have been a message about equality and growth quickly morphed into a full-blown drama. Clark, whether she liked it or not, was caught right in the middle, once again at the center of controversy. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get any more intense, the energy around the league shifted in a way no one could have predicted. The story was about to go somewhere totally new.
The t-shirt, just United Front, was determined this morning that we had a meeting for. And, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that.
These WNBA players, they get more unlikable every day. And the blatant jealousy, the blatant hatred towards Caitlin Clark is, it's obvious. They don't even try to hide it.
As fans kept arguing online, another reality came crashing down. Most people realize that money in sports doesn't magically appear because players ask for it. It's not the fans buying tickets or the t-shirts sold at games that truly fund those bigger salaries. It's the giant TV deals and sponsorships. And those are only possible when you've got a massive star who draws a huge audience. Right now, that star is Caitlin Clark. She's the reason people who never cared about the WNBA before are tuning in. While a handful of players demanded more pay, most fans couldn't ignore the simple math. Without Clark, the league's recent surge in popularity and profit would vanish. Every TV network wants a piece of her. Every game she plays is a must-see event. Old school fans tried to keep the focus on the team, but the new wave of Clark supporters just wanted to watch her hit threes and break records. For them, all the talk about money and protests felt like a distraction. When people saw the numbers, how TV ratings and revenue shot up only because of Clark, it became clear just how much the league depends on her. With that realization came a whole new level of tension, as everyone started to wonder what would happen if she ever walked away.
These players have made a grave miscalculation. They've got, on a 3-to-1 scale, they've got new sports fans, and I don't mean new to sports, new to their league. Fans of other sports now watching their league. Now, we're not watching their whole sport as a whole. We're not. Now, occasionally we peek in on other games or this and that and the other, but we're watching the Indiana Fever. More specifically, we're watching Caitlin Clark.
The original goal of the protest, showing unity and demanding better pay, quickly fell apart as the days went on. Instead of bringing the league together, the Pay Us shirt seemed to drive a wedge between players, teams, and the fans. Hardcore WNBA supporters tried to defend the players' actions, but the vast majority of Clark's new fans, many of them following women's basketball for the very first time, felt let down. They came to see incredible talent, not to get caught up in locker room drama. Online, people started to point out what nobody wanted to say. The shirts weren't about lifting up everyone. They were about calling out Clark. Social media turned the protest into a punchline, with viral posts and memes poking fun at the drama. It even sparked debates in sports bars, group chats, and family dinners about whether the league was helping or hurting itself with these moves. Through it all, Clark managed to keep her head down and stay focused on her game, but you could sense that things were building to a boiling point. The mood around the league wasn't just tense, it was electric, like everyone was waiting for the next big twist. And when it finally came, nobody was ready for how far the drama would go.
These players know that, and they hate it, and they can't even hide it. Here's the other thing. The one, all right, they're all behind these. Oh, they're going to wear these shirts and activism and all that. Whereas the three, the 3-1, the fans that came in, the sports fans that came in, you know what we don't do? We ain't worried about salaries. And we know the monetary dynamics of sports, and we know your league doesn't make a profit. And the only hopes of it making a profit is that lady right there on my screen.
Kelsey Plum wasn't about to let the drama fade quietly. In a move that took everyone by surprise, including her own teammates, she took center stage and publicly singled out Caitlin Clark for not showing up to the protest meeting. It was a bold, almost ruthless move, and you could see jaws dropping even on the Liberty's bench. Cameras zoomed in on Sabrina Ionescu, who looked completely uncomfortable with the way Plum was putting Clark on blast for the world to see. What was meant to be a display of unity and sisterhood in the league ended up exposing just how divided things really are. Instead of focusing attention on fair pay or growing the league, the moment turned Clark into a target, painting her as an outsider instead of a rising star. News of Plum's call-out spread like wildfire, first on social media, then on sports talk shows, and finally into headlines nationwide. Fans who'd been on the fence about the protest now felt Clark was being unfairly scapegoated, and the US versus her mentality took over. The betrayal wasn't just inside the locker room. It spilled onto every screen and into every conversation. And with every retweet and replay, the backlash grew even louder, setting the stage for an even bigger explosion.
The shirts read, "Pay us what you owe us." And of course, everybody clowned that. Well, Kelsey Plum decided to give some backstory about these shirts, and she took a shot at Caitlin Clark.
The reaction from fans and media was swift and downright brutal. Commentators didn't hold back, calling some of the WNBA players insufferable and blasting the league for not protecting its own superstar. In comment sections, fans rallied behind Clark, arguing that the players who went after her didn't deserve someone with her talent and drawing power. The outrage was so fierce that some fans even swore off watching the WNBA altogether, disgusted by what they saw as bullying and petty jealousy. For Clark, it was just another test in a rookie season already filled with challenges and controversy. But what really stood out was her resilience. She refused to bite back and kept playing her game with the same quiet confidence that won her millions of fans in the first place. It was as if every time the league tried to knock her down, she came back even stronger, and that only made the people rooting against her more desperate. But while the online firestorm was raging, the real blow-up was still around the corner, one that would take the entire conversation to a whole new level.
This guy, everyone should use this video in this moment to stop watching or comment about anything having to do with the WNBA. These women are insufferable. They don't deserve more money. They don't get any ratings outside of Caitlin Clark. They openly disrespect her. They don't deserve Caitlin Clark. They don't deserve attention. They don't deserve a league.
Suddenly, all the talk of unity turned to whispers about jealousy. The spotlight moved from solidarity to rivalry, and players like Kelsey Plum and Diana Taurasi became the faces of this new drama, not as leaders, but as players accused of wanting Clark's spotlight for themselves. Sports fans and commentators started drawing sharp lines between those who truly supported the league's future and those who were stuck in the past. The accusation echoed everywhere. For the first time, the difference was impossible to ignore. Clark's arrival brought more viewers, more sponsorships, and more buzz than anything that had come before. And while other stars had moments in the sun, none had ever changed the league the way Clark did, practically overnight. Suddenly, what started as a protest became something much bigger, a battle for the very future of the WNBA, with jealousy and ambition pushing old rivalries to the surface. And as the story kept evolving, it was clear that the drama had only just begun.
That's part of the issue, is she thought she was going to come in this league, Kelsey Plum, and she thought she was Caitlin Clark. I can tell you right now. That was Diana Taurasi's problem too. She thought she was Caitlin Clark. And if Caitlin Clark wasn't around or whatever, Paige Beckers would think she's the one. You know? And none of them are. None of them have even shook the needle, shivered the needle.
That's when the internet delivered a knockout punch of its own, a viral insult that hit harder than anything said on the court. Suddenly, Kelsey Plum was being compared to Megan Rapinoe, with sports fans online declaring her one of the most unlikable athletes, not just in basketball but in all of sports. The memes came pouring in, jokes flew across TikTok and Twitter, and suddenly, Plum is the new Rapinoe was trending everywhere you looked. It wasn't just a nickname. It was a reputation crisis. The harsh comparison suggested that just like Rapinoe had become a lightning rod for controversy, Plum was now at risk of losing her connection to fans altogether. For a league fighting so hard for attention and respect, having a star player become the punchline of social media was a disaster. Clark, on the other hand, watched the storm from the sidelines, letting her game do the talking while others tried and failed to steal her spotlight. But the fallout from that viral moment was only the beginning of the wounds the league was about to suffer. The drama was far from over, and every new headline just made it sting more.
She's entering Megan Rapinoe territory on unlikability. Can you imagine? Congratulations, Megan Rapinoe.
For fans who'd invested their hopes in the WNBA, the whole situation felt like a breaking point. What should have been a celebration of women's sports turned into a showcase for everything that still holds the league back: infighting, jealousy, and teammates tearing each other down in public instead of building each other up. Kelsey Plum strikes again started trending, with frustrated supporters blasting how personal feuds and egos were spoiling the rise of women's basketball. The more the stars clashed, the less new fans wanted to watch, proving that it wasn't Clark's presence that was the problem, but the toxic atmosphere swirling around her. The league's image, which had been on the rise all season thanks to Clark's popularity, took a major hit. Instead of making headlines for highlight reel plays, the WNBA was suddenly in the news for all the wrong reasons. It was a painful setback at the worst possible time, right as the sport was trying to break through to a bigger audience. Still, no one was ready for the wild plot twist about to come next.
What was the point of her saying that? They're their own worst enemies. It's crazy. Nobody hates on women more than other women. The shit is crazy. It's nuts. Kelsey Plum strikes again.
While the league desperately tried to show a united front, critics and die-hard fans saw right through the PR spin. The protest shirts, the media campaigns, the sisterhood slogans, it all started to look like an elaborate way to blame Clark for the league's problems while ignoring the financial realities that kept everything afloat. Fans flooded forums and social media with reminders that, for all the talk of growth and solidarity, the WNBA was still heavily dependent on NBA money just to stay alive. Every attempt to twist the narrative only backfired, with more fans pointing out that Clark's superstar status was the only real thing keeping the league's numbers up. The more players and league officials tried to cast Clark as an enemy, the more obvious it became that she was actually the WNBA's greatest hope. As the debate raged, it became clear that this wasn't just a minor controversy. It was exposing a massive rift inside the league, one that could define the WNBA's future for years to come. But the most revealing truth was still hiding in plain sight.
You wanted to unite, but you threw Team Clark and Caitlin Clark under the bus. Y'all got a different version of uniting than I do, I guess. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Underneath all the chaos, one fact kept coming up. Most players in the league actually respected and admired Caitlin Clark, but a handful of so-called stars were poisoning the atmosphere, stirring up drama, and creating unnecessary division. The solution being whispered by more and more fans was simple. If the toxic troublemakers just walked out, the WNBA would instantly be a healthier, happier, and more exciting league to watch. Supporters called for a fresh start, with more voices rising up to demand real change. They wanted a league built around talent, hard work, and respect, not ego battles and viral feuds. In the end, every new controversy made it clearer that the WNBA's future was on a knife's edge. With every passing week, the league faced a choice: double down on the drama or finally build around the one superstar who could take the sport to the next level. The ball was in the league's court, and fans everywhere were watching, waiting, and hoping the right decision would finally be made.